Have you ever looked out of an airplane window and wondered why it doesn't just keep climbing higher until it reaches the edge of space? Modern airliners are powerful machines capable of crossing oceans and continents, yet they seem to stop climbing at around 40,000 feet. The reason is far more surprising than most people imagine, and it's not simply because the pilots don't want to go any higher. So, let's discover why planes don't fly over 40,000 feet with Origin Files Hub. At first, it seems like flying higher should always be better. Higher altitudes often have smoother air, less weather, and thinner atmosphere that creates less drag. So why not climb to 50,000 or even 60,000 feet? The answer lies in a delicate balance between the airplane, the air around it, and the limits of physics itself. Airplanes stay in the sky because their wings create lift. As the aircraft moves forward, air flows over and under the wings, producing an upward force. But the higher a plane climbs, the thinner the air becomes. Thin air creates less drag, which is good for fuel efficiency. However, it also means the wings generate less lift, and the engines have less oxygen to produce thrust. Every 1,000 feet takes the airplane closer to a point where flying becomes impossible. This challenge became clear during the early days of aviation. The first airplanes could only fly a few thousand feet above the ground. As engines became stronger and aircraft designs improved, pilots reached higher altitudes. Jet engines after World War II made cruising above 30,000 feet practical, allowing airlines to fly faster, farther, and more efficiently than ever before. But even modern technology cannot ignore the laws of nature. Commercial airliners usually cruise between 35,000 and 41,000 feet, because this is where efficiency and safety meet. At these heights, the air is thin enough to reduce fuel consumption while still providing enough lift and engine performance. If the aircraft climbs much higher, the safe operating range becomes extremely small. Pilots call this the coffin corner. At this altitude, the difference between flying safely and losing control can become dangerously tiny. Imagine driving a car on a road that becomes narrower and narrower until there is almost no room to steer. That is similar to what happens in the sky. Fly slightly too slowly, and the wings may stall because they cannot create enough lift. Fly slightly too fast, and the aircraft risks exceeding its structural speed limits. There comes a point where there is almost no safe speed left to fly. The engines face another problem. Jet engines rely on compressing incoming air before mixing it with fuel. At very high altitudes, there simply is not enough air entering the engine. Even though modern engines are incredibly advanced, they cannot produce unlimited thrust where the atmosphere is extremely thin. Without enough thrust, the airplane cannot continue climbing. There are, however, aircraft designed to fly much higher. Military spy planes like the Lockheed U-2 have operated above 70,000 feet, and the SR-71 Blackbird flew even higher and faster. These aircraft use lightweight designs, specialized engines, and very different operating procedures. Weather balloons rise beyond 100,000 feet because they do not depend on wings, while spacecraft must use rockets because the atmosphere eventually becomes too thin for normal flight. This is where aviation ends and spaceflight begins. Scientists continue developing lighter materials, more efficient engines, and improved aerodynamics. Future aircraft may cruise slightly higher than today's airliners, but they will still face the same fundamental challenge. Without enough air, wings cannot generate lift, and engines cannot keep producing power. Physics sets the rules, and every aircraft must obey them. The next time you sit beside an airplane window and see the sky turn a deep shade of blue, remember that you are already flying near the edge of what is possible for a commercial aircraft. Beyond that invisible boundary, the sky is no longer a place where airplanes belong. Sometimes the greatest limits are not created by human engineering, but by the very nature of the world we live in.